so we are back with Lauren for our next makeup masterclass. So what are you going to be taking us through today?
So I'm going to talk to you about eyes. Obviously, everybody wants to know what to do with their eyes. I get told all the time, I don't know how to do my eyes, so I just leave them. I think most people understand eyeliner because they've done it since they were able to use eyeliner.
Yes.
But I think eyeshadow people are frightened of, and so I think that there's really nice, easy things that we can do that introduce people to wearing it that are a little bit less scary.
Awesome. Right, let's get started.
Right, so before I started doing your base, I actually went over your eyebrows with a product, and the product that I used was the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel. And the great thing about this, it's kind of like a mascara, a clear mascara, and you just take it through the brows. And the reason I do it at the beginning of doing your makeup is that by the time you come to actually do your brows, it's set in place.
Right, right.
And you can go over it and move them around a little, but I really like the fact that it is, very, it keeps everything in place. What I'm going to use first is the, as I mentioned in your base video, the Secret Camouflage from Lauren Mercier. Now, what I love about this is it comes with two shades. It usually comes with like a yellow tone and a pinky or a peach tone. So I'm going to use the pinky peach tone on your eyelid because there's a little bit of blue in that area and it just helps to cancel that out. Again, I'm just using my ring finger, and the reason for that is it's a much more lightweight touch to the area. Now, I wouldn't recommend all concealers for the eyelid because a lot of them are much creamier. But as I mentioned in the base video, this is a really hard you've got to kind of really work with this product to help it kind of be a bit more playable, and that means that it sticks wherever you put it, and that's what I like about it for the eye area. However, if you just keep your eyes closed, you do need to set this with a powder over the top. So I'm going to use the same powder that I used for the whole of your face, which is the Lauren Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. I'm just going to set that because once you open your eyes, all of those little creases that make up your eyelid will swallow up that product, and then you'll have it sitting. So now that's obviously set, you don't need to worry about that. So what I recommend for people as a really easy way to entry level into eyeshadow is to use a cream eyeshadow and then set it with a powder. A similar colour powder ideally, but it doesn't matter if you want to use like a natural brown coloured cream, then you can put any shade over the top of that.
Okay.
So there's lots of different formulas, but there's two that I particularly like. The first one is MAC Pro Longwear Paint Pot.
Okay.
And these come in lots of shades. You can open that as well if you want. So it's like, it's a really hard cream is that. And they do them in matte shades, they do them with a bit of sparkle, they do them just with a bit of sheen, but that's completely matte. And that's why I like that.
Yeah.
Because it's wearable, you can wear that with a dark smoky eye, or you can wear it in the day. I love it. So I'm going to use that on you. Right, so the one that I'm going to use on you is MAC Paint Pot in Quite Natural, but I am going to show you this other formula, which is the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerise in Betty. Oh yeah. And it's really creamy. This is a lot. See, there it is. It might be better for you to show it actually. Okay. So again, that one is it's much creamier. You can see there's a dent in that because it's almost like a mousse. The finish of it, it's really, really nice.
Oh yeah.
It does crease, so you need to definitely pack on an eyeshadow, a powdered eyeshadow over the top of it if you don't want it to. I mean, some people are fine with creasing. Yeah. It can look quite funky, to have a bit of a grungy crease, but no.
I'm not into a crease myself.
No, I think for that polished look, you don't want that. So we're going to go with Quite Natural Paint Pot from MAC. I hope they still do this. I think they probably do. I'm using a MAC blending brush in a 217. So we start off in the centre of the eye and we put the product right deep into the lash line and just work it along. Almost like we're doing an eyeliner, but this is a blending brush. So we're using a blending brush, which is a lot fluffier than the area we're putting it on. So we just need to be that bit careful as to how much we're blending it, because we don't want that product to end up on the under eye whilst we're doing the top of our eye. Not unless that's the look you want. I like that look. I like quite a lot of product under my eyes, but not everybody does, especially not for a daytime.
No.
So I'm just now, so I've done along the eye area here, and now I'm dragging that product downwards. So it's creating a bit of a blend. Now, don't worry, because this is just your base. It doesn't need to be perfect. When you put your eyeshadow over the top, that's when it becomes more apparent what's happening. and that's when your edges need to be blended perfectly. But the thing is with cream is it's very forgiving, can move, it doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be there.
So do you just keep working at that until you've got as much on as you want, basically? Just keep adding a little bit at a time.
Until you've got the amount that you need. Now this as a product on its own looks absolutely beautiful. The amount of colour that's there is gorgeous. Some people would say that's a nighttime look. I think this is a lovely daytime look because it gives that, the amount of colour that you would want for your eyes to stand out in the daytime.
Yeah.
Right, so we're going to talk about eyeliner now. So my two favourite eyeliner shades are a nice dark brown and a nice mushroom colour. So both of these, this is like a sort of, some brands will call this like a satin taupe, some people will call this a mushroom, but yeah, I think it's kind of mushroomy. It's like a, how would you describe that? It's like a grey colour, isn't it?
Yeah, taupe.
Grey brown. Yeah, taupe, that's the perfect shade name. I can't name it. Right, so what we're going to do for the purposes of the demonstration, I'm going to take a little bit underneath. So if you just look up, and I'm going to keep this, because this is a daytime look, I'm going to keep it really tight into your lash line. Almost basically where the buds of your bottom lashes are coming out. You want it really deep in.
Okay.
It's just giving that frame, and you'll be able to see the difference between the two eyes, the one that hasn't, the one that has. I mean, it's a personal choice as to where you put your eyeliner, but I always think that, especially when you've got a beautiful eye shape like yours, to give that definition around it is gorgeous. So just look up again. I'm going to take it underneath this one. Now, some ladies just like to take the outer third, and that's really pretty too for the daytime. I just think it's a personal thing, and that's the one thing I never try and change with my clients is where they put their eyeliner, because it's what makes them them, really.
Yeah, because I mean, like if I'm going out, I'll line more.
Yeah.
During the day, I just do like a third underneath.
Yeah.
It depends on my mood, really.
Yeah.
But do you, because I read somewhere that lining the whole eye makes it appear smaller. Is that true?
I feel that if you line the whole of the outside of the eye, it doesn't. I think it gives a real frame to the eye and draws the attention into the eye. If you put a load of black eyeliner on the waterline, the bottom, the top, whichever you want to do, it will close your eye.
The eye.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so under the eye, very much like all of our other products, we're going to use a powder product over the top of our cream product. So our cream product is our eyeliner. Our powder product is going on with this, which is a little, I'll just hold the hand behind. It's a tiny, tiny little pencil brush. Tiny. And I'm just putting the product right on the tip.
So is this the other MAC one that you were talking about?
So this is the MAC 219. Pretty certain it's a 219. Right, I'm just
on a brush.
On a pencil brush. Doesn't really matter. Just put something on cotton bud or whatever you want. So I'm just taking that and I'm blending it left to right, and I'm keeping that really close in and really flat to the face. Don't go in this way because you want your product to sit underneath and just give you that framework. Now that's really pretty, and you could leave that exactly as it is. In fact, for daytime, I think that's a really nice soft look because we've got a bit darker on the eyelid. Then we can keep it softer by having more product, but without having a harsh dark line.
Yes, yeah.
I think that's nice for daytime. So for evening, obviously we'd add mascara, etc. But for evening, I'm going to show you how I can make that darker. So I'm going to go in, first of all, with my favourite MAC pencil, which is coffee, and then close your eyes. And I'm running that horizontal all along, really tight to the lash line, really tight. And again, we're going to blend this out so it doesn't need to be super, super neat. But if you do try and keep it nice and tight to that lash line, you will get a much better finish when you do start blending it out. With the top line, I'd be more inclined to do the whole lid than just an outer third. I think that it looks a bit strange if you just do the outer third. Some people do.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
But I think for me, generally, I would say do all the way across, and then you can do your little bit underneath if you want. So what I would recommend is that you keep your thickness at this end here, and if you can, get quite skilled with your pencil, just, you can add thickness if you want to, but taper it out towards the inner corner. You don't want a big thick line running all the way along because that will make your eyelid appear heavier.
Well, yeah, I don't need that. I've got quite heavy eyelids anyway.
You haven't, but I think that it is something to consider for everybody, really. Okay, and then again, we're going to set that product with this lovely little pencil brush. And I'm just going over with a nice matte, deep, warm brown just over the top of that. Again, keeping it really tight into the lash line. Okay, and then again, I'm going to, just because we're going to this evening look, and just if you look up, going back to what we were saying about the outer corner, what I'm going to do, because I don't want to overpower your eyes, I'm going to keep that depth of colour just to the outer corner here. I think, you know, people ask me about brushes, and absolutely, you need to be invest in brushes. You don't need to buy MAC, you don't need to buy expensive brands, but just keep them clean and really, you know, blend.
Keyword blend, ladies.
How do we keep them clean? We wash them with baby shampoo. Is the key thing. So in the palm of your hand, some baby shampoo, and put your brush on there. In fact, I'll get a brush. So baby shampoo in the palm of your hand, put your brush on it, run it under warm water, and just rub it through until you get all of the product off. So I think once you get into the habit of doing it, you should be doing it really after every use, but realistically, most women, once a week?
I do well once a week.
Yeah, once a week. And then you just literally, over the countertop, just leave them with the edges hanging off, and they'll dry overnight. They'll be like new in the morning. Awesome. So I'm going to use my favourite brow pencil now, which is the Anastasia Brow Wiz in medium brown. So I don't know if that's the one that I recommended to you, medium brown.
I can't remember, let me see. I've got it, and I love it.
So what I love about this product is it's a really fine pencil that you can obviously push up and use in much more detail, so you can use as a hair stroke, or you can give some real definition and shade. So you've got an absolutely amazing brow shape, but just to get some more density and more sharpness to it, I'm just going to take a very, very fine line just to keep, because you've got really sharp shaped brows, I think, and that, I think, needs to be reflected in how you shade them. Mm-hmm. So I take a line, and this line thing, it doesn't necessarily work for everybody, but I think with your brows it really does, because they're so defined. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to start by doing the same on the top, just taking the invisible line from here, just along where those little hairs are, and just filling in that section there, just to give that shape some more sharpness.
I have to say, this Brow Wiz that you're using at the moment is so easy to use.
It is, and it stays all day.
And it stays, and because you used it on me in the makeup lesson that I had with you. Yeah. And then I went and bought it, thinking I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be able to recreate that line and sort of the effects that you had. And whilst it's not as good as how you do it, it's been refreshingly easy to create a look that I'm really very happy with, and it's just so quick. You know, I don't have to faff around with it. I can just whack it on.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, like, we need the right products, because, you know, if you're not armed with the right products, like, there's so many badly designed brow pencils out there, and there might be a brilliant formula, but for me, the design of the nib, for want of a better word, is the most fundamental part of it. Yeah. You want it to last, you don't want to end up with patchy brows by the end of the day. So what I'm doing is I'm just brushing upwards into the brow. We've given you a really strong, sharp brow there. Obviously, we've done an evening look, and, you know, obviously strong brows, they're not for everybody. Brows are not for everybody. Not everybody's kind of bought into that whole brow craze trend yet. But
what would you say for people who have, because I think, obviously I'm very dark, this is my natural eyebrow colour, so I've always had a strong brow because I've had no choice. But for someone who's fair but wants a bit more definition, possibly, what would you say to them? I mean, obviously I know it's difficult to give a general recommendation, but does it work, that defined brow, for someone who's fair? Absolutely.
I think you can create a softly defined brow for a fair skinned and haired person. Also, if you've got a good amount of hair there but you're fair skinned, they do these tinted brow mascaras, for want of a better word, and you can pick up the hair. If you're frightened of using a pencil, and, you know, quite rightly you want to get it right, I think these are a really good sort of entry-level thing, maybe for an older lady that's got hair there but wants to kind of just pick something up. If you've got any greys or anything, it just goes over all of that. So It's brilliant.
So a brow mascara would be good for someone who wants definition but possibly is quite fair.
Absolutely. So there's your brow. So your proportions of your brow should be, this outer section is 1/3 and the inner section is 2/3, and the biggest depth of colour should be in this section here, and then this should be softly, you should be able to still see skin at that point, which we can. So that's your brows.
Love it.